But on the other hand, I turned out, I had to just lose my mind.
Ooh, tie game.
I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I would have done crazy. We didn't get to sit on our trash last year.
You can give me 30 seconds.
Get up, shower.
It's 180. This is. It is. Really, I think I can.
Having our red redid our teaching instructions. My mistake was I'm not listening.
Wendy, do you mind if we pause the conversation just to get going here?
Let's do it.
You guys ready? Does anyone have, sorry. Does anyone have anyone that wants to speak today? Just speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, I want to miss anyone.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular school board meeting, Garden Valley School District number 71. It's Wednesday, April 19th, 2023, and it is 6:02 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Tracy Goff.
George Simpson.
Oh, we need to call Morris. Kylie Peters. And then we are calling Morris Morgan to join us on the phone this evening. He's out of town. Do we need him on roll call? Okay. All right, can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, Morris.
Morris?
Yes.
Hello, you are joining us on speakerphone.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 4, approve and adopt agenda. Do I have a motion to approve and adopt the agenda?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we approve and adopt the agenda as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, item number 5, consent agenda, approval of minutes from the regular board meeting March 8th, 2023, special board meeting March 28th, 2023, and special board meeting April 10th, 2023, treasurer's report, as well as payment of bills and journal entries. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, item number 6, delegations and reports. First up will be our interim superintendent, Patrick Goff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to start out by letting you know what I've been doing since the last board meeting. A couple things that I went to the legislative roadshow, working to see where the funding is going to be this year. They're moving everything from the temporary rule of enrollment back to ADA, which could have a major effect on some of the monies that we receive. The good thing about it is they're finally looking at where to put money in as far as salaries and benefits. And so every teacher should see $6,300 increase at every level, which is a big, huge jump from what they've had in the past. So we're finally starting to get to the level of where some of our surrounding states are paying. So hopefully we can stave off the people leaving. So that's a plus. Some of the other areas that might go down would be building and maintenance. Some of the technology funds that's been eliminated so on and so forth. But we're looking at trying to match some of those dollars and trying to figure out where we're going to put some of those monies and extra monies that we have in certain pots and put them in others. I've been working with David Brankman, Idaho Association of School Administrators, to get the board some training. We did have a workshop. I felt it went very well. I'm going to meet with David Brankman and Andy Grover, who's the president of the ISA, and discuss some of the areas that we need to get for around the special ed monies and some of the areas where we're going to be lacking this year funding, and get some ideas of what they would say. They're a pretty intelligent group of people, and they keep their ear to the ground with the legislators, so it's good to know. So now to read a little bit of something what I wrote up, because I had some priorities that the board wanted me to focus on, and of course, since I'm the only employee of the board, so to speak, then I went ahead and kind of focused a lot of my attention. I wanted to apprise the board of what I've been focusing my attention on, mainly along with many other projects concerning the budget and where we sit. I've had multiple conversations with the bookkeepers, incoming bookkeeper, principal, board members, and other employees. What I have found is very concerning and goes back to the previous 3 years of administrators and staff members that worked with those administrators. The current board was apprised of the potential predicament and hired me to come in as the interim superintendent, given my background and knowledge of Garden Valley, of the small rural school districts. The amount of money that was spent put us in a scenario of hoping we can make payroll through August. So let that sink in a little bit. So our fiscal goes for payroll is September through August. And so if we can't make payroll in August, that's losing people. So it was kind of disconcerting to hear. So I stopped spending on everything but the ASB accounts that were fundraised, and those funds that are under contract, that we had a contract with for the full year, because we have to maintain that contract with the integrity of what we're doing, and as we're playing school, so to speak, with the budget that we have. I know there were several conversations to stop spending money since the contingency was getting used up, as well as saved up amounts for future buildings endeavors for the district to use. So we have a contingency, which is 5% of our total budget, annual budget, but there was money that had been kind of tucked away for future buildings and future programs if we wanted to increase those, i.e. CTE programs, welding, ag, whatever it might be. The current board asked me to look into the situation to see where the money was spent and why we didn't have the funds left to get through the year. I can honestly say that we are barely going to have enough funds to get the bills paid, which involves payroll, mind you, to the month of August. We will receive funds for the next fiscal year in August, and then we'll be on our way to building the contingency and future use funds. The current board has made some very tough decisions, and we'll have more tough decisions to approve or consider in the near future that will hopefully put Garden Valley on the right track to be able to continue functioning as an educational facility in the state of Idaho. They have not responded to any emails or questions per the GVSD school's attorney that advised them not to. We have safeguards in place now concerning who has access to the funds and how many people will be involved in the ordering and spending. I am hoping to be able to work together with the current board in making sure Garden Valley School District is again fiscally sound and can conduct the business according with the taxpayers' monies where it was intended. We are also going to look at a better accounting system so that it involves a workflow where the bookkeeper, administrator, and treasurer of the board can preview the purchase request and or payments of the district. This falls under the best business and accounting practices that all auditors suggest and gives the transparency of what's being spent. So that's my report. I wanted to get it out there in the open. That's what I've been working on. I don't know what you've been hearing on anti-social media. Don't care. My job here is to make sure that we have a safe and an educational facility for every student here that's coming through the school. And that's our priority. That's always been our priority. And I don't think you can sit there and ask any teacher, are they here for the pay? Because it's not that much. So we're here for the best of the students, whether it be in the classroom, whether it be in the gymnasium, whether it be out on the football field. And the board has the best intention for it, believe it or not. So we're here to work for you, the public, and make sure that the students are educated in the right way. So I've said my 2 cents and I thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
All right, moving on to the principal report, Dr. Stephen Lynch.
yeah, the mic's right
The
there.
mic's right there.
There you go.
There you go. You're fine.
The only things that I would like to share today is, so I am almost done with the exception of one teacher, certified teacher evaluation. And then the classifieds will begin next week and I will have that wrapped up by the end of next week. And I do not actually have the behavior incidents one report ready for you since last time. Apologize for that, but I will easily push that out tomorrow if you need one.
Okay,
Don't have the what?
The incident reports,
Oh, okay.
The behavior chart.
but we are right around 7:30, somewhere around that range.
okay.
Okay, great. Well, that was short and
Yeah,
sweet.
that was good.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Steve.
Principal Lynch.
Okay, item number 7, executive session 74-206, subsection 1, an executive session at which members of the public are excluded may be held, but only for the purposes and only in the manner set forth in this section. The motion to go into executive session shall identify the specific subsections of this section that authorize the executive session. There shall be a roll call vote on the motion, and the vote shall be recorded in the minutes. An executive session shall be authorized by a 2/3 vote of the governing body. An executive session may be held, subsection B, to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent, or public school student. Idaho Code 74-206, 1 subsection B. Section D, to consider records that are exempt from disclosure as provided in Chapter 1, Title 74 in Idaho Code. Idaho Code 74-206, 1 subsection D. Section F, to communicate with legal counsel for the public agency to discuss the legal ramifications of and the legal options for pending litigation or controversies not yet being litigated, but eminently likely to be litigated. The mere presence of legal counsel at an executive session does not satisfy this requirement. Idaho Code 74-206, 1 subsection F. Okay, do I have a roll call vote?
Tracy Goff, aye.
George Simpson, aye.
Kylie Peters, aye.
Morris Morgan, aye.
Okay.
Hey, Steve. Did you lose your phone? I totally lost it. Oh, it's on the box. Okay, you ready? Okay. Okay. Do we have any possible motions regarding items discussed during executive session?
Madam Chair, I move that we open one part-time CTE position and one part-time position split between CTE and specials.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any other motions regarding items discussed during executive session?
Madam Chair, I move that we hire Patrick Goff as our full-time superintendent for the next school year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Do we have any other motions regarding items discussed during executive session? Okay, moving on to item number 8, community forum on agenda. Do we have anybody? Okay. Okay, moving on to action items, new business. Item number 1, interview candidates for Zone 5 trustee, Wendy Lindstrom and Clay Tucker. Would you guys like to come sit up front and have a seat, and then we can ask you some questions? We need 2 chairs.
I already have it.
You want that one?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, well, thank you both for being here. So we're just going to go through the question list, and everybody's picked out 2 questions to ask. So, do you want to start?
I will start.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Clay here. And I would like to know what qualities and behaviors you think a board member should exhibit.
Honesty, probably the main thing. Transparency is a big issue. I think that's part of the reason why there's so much animosity. I'm not sure that everybody thinks that they're being or have been transparent.
Okay. I'm going to ask the same question to Wendy.
I agree 100% with Clay. If you don't mind, I just kind of had a question because I put in for this position because I was told that there was nobody from our zone that had put in, that it needed to be filled. So I put in that, and we go to the board meeting, and you guys opened it up for 30 days. And then I go to the board education on the 10th, and I was told that nobody had put in an application. That's over 30 days. Because of that, I was told that, I'd be sworn in today. And so I found out through the mailer or through the email that Clay had put in. And so for that reason, I would like to say that I think Clay will do a great job. I would like to concede to Clay and just say, he's in our zone. He's lived here his whole life. I think that he will do a good job. And I would just like to say, I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you put the application in. And I wish you nothing but the best.
How's your view?
Because in all honesty, I don't think we as a community, or zone, or board, or school needs any more divide. I don't have anything but the best in support for life.
Well, thank you.
I guess we can do that. More play. We should probably, yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to continue with the interview, just so the public and community can hear your responses as well as us. My question for you would be, can you describe what the superintendent's role is? What you perceive it to be?
My, they're kind of the managers of the actual school, the faculty, prepared stuff for you, carry out your wishes for him.
Anybody have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you have any specific changes you think you'd like to make or implement to the school district?
To the district? I don't think I do have any specific changes for the district. I have a couple for the board if you'd like to hear those.
Sure.
Just like your executive session that you just had. It wasn't clear what you went into executive session for. It wasn't clear what happened in executive session. I think coming out of that, you have to have an explanation for the open public meeting. That's about it.
Okay.
Why do you want to become a board member?
I got there are 3 girls in school here right now, and I want the best for the school. Hopefully I can ease some of the tensions between the community and the board, make it a little less hostile. That's me.
I like that.
I got a kind of dual purpose question for you here. So in your opinion, why are school boards necessary?
Well, that is the people's way of being represented at the level of school. That's you are their input on how they run the school.
Right. And I'm just going to expound on that a little bit. I've had multiple discussions with people in the community, and one of the things I don't like about this process right here is that we have to appoint somebody. In this situation, we have to appoint. I would prefer it was an elected position, but unfortunately, the way the law is written, we as a board are forced to appoint somebody at this time, right? I was appointed, Kylie was appointed, Trace was appointed. So I would, in my heart of hearts, I want to get to the next point where we can be elected. The next positions that are open, I would like to get to an elected position. And let me tell you, it's been a struggle dealing with some of the community things that have come out. And I usually try to keep a pretty even keel on things. And I'm getting a little bit frustrated too. The board has a job to do. Sometimes the board can't expound on why they're doing what they do because of legal reasons. So I hope that we can get some grace back and move forward with grace and get to the next election on this. So,
And I understand completely. I'm a county commissioner. It comes up constantly. People ask me, and I can't talk specifically about stuff.
right.
I can just kind of have a conversation, but not a specific conversation, and it makes it difficult. But yeah, having elected people would
Yes.
make everybody feel a little better.
Okay, thank you, Clay. Any more questions?
The only question I have is, are you willing to do extra trainings and spend extra time? Because it's something I wasn't aware of was going to be such a huge amount of time. And we've all been dedicated to putting our time in. So just having that agreement from you would be,
Yep, no, I do lots of trainings. And
okay, it's a lot.
I was actually gonna send you guys an email, and I figured I would wait till after this for budget training that the state puts on. The commissioners were invited to. I don't know if you guys were.
Okay. So just one more question. If you had 3 objectives of changes that you would make to the board would they be?
Just a little more, a little more openness. Like you guys have your executive sessions, which are fine, but then coming out of executive, you made a couple motions, did things. There was no discussion for the public to hear. I think that needs a little bit of change. Other than that, without being in the executive sessions and giving that information,
And the nature of executive session is that we can't discuss it regardless. So,
yeah.
so it kind of puts us in a bind, right? We go into executive session, make some decisions, come out, make a vote or a motion, but we cannot discuss what goes on in executive session. So,
No, but you can,
Just to add to that, that's law.
right.
And it's Idaho Code 74-208. So it's law that determines what we can and can't say when we come out of executive session. And that's why we don't.
It's usually just a motion and a vote.
our prosecuting attorney made it pretty clear to us that coming out of executive, you have to do some sort of explanation as to why you're making a motion. If you go into executive session and there's no action, that's all right. But once you go into executive and come back out and there's going to be a motion, I think there needs to be an explanation to the people as to why.
Maybe your attorney can get with our attorney.
Absolutely.
Hash some stuff out. Well, good. I'm open to learning too. I mean, obviously I'm not a lawyer and I don't pretend to
I'm
be
not
either. So,
Okay, any other questions?
not for me.
Okay, Morris?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Clay. Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Guess what now?
Oh, we actually do have to have a motion to appoint.
Number two.
Yeah.
I'll read it. Okay, item number 2, discuss and appoint new trustee for Zone 5. Do I have a motion to appoint a new trustee for Zone 5?
Madam Chair, I would like to open this up that, because we had one candidate who declined to run and we only have one candidate left, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Clay Tucker as trustee for Zone 5.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay?
Welcome aboard. Thank you. Thank you
So
so
the
much.
next board meeting.
Okay, item number 3, discuss and possibly set new date for the annual budget hearing to be no later than June 21st, 2023. And this is Lydia Calloway and Gabe Gillette.
All right. This was the budget hearing, all right?
Yep.
So there are several different dates that all have to happen kind of in conjunction with each other in order for it to work out right. So we have to have our budget hearing, and then 10 days prior to the budget hearing, we have to publish a notice in the Idaho World. And then the budget hearing has to happen no later than 28 days prior to our July meeting. And then we have to submit budget forms 28 days or sooner after the budget is adopted. So there's tons of different dates that have to all line up. And so looking at that and filling out my calendar and trying to figure that out, I want to propose a budget hearing date of June 14th, or we could do June 15th, either one of those dates that would work for you guys.
Okay, and this will just be a special meeting for the budget only, right?
Yes.
That's all we need.
And the reason why, like originally I thought maybe June 21st, that is the last date. It has to be approved by June 21st. But if we have our budget hearing on June 21st, then it has to be adopted, right? So if we go the week before and it doesn't get adopted, then we can work out whatever we need to and then adopt it on the regular board meeting on the 21st.
Yep.
It gives us a week to make changes.
Yeah. And the ruling is if you don't adopt it during the budget hearing, you have 14 days to adopt it. And so that's only 7 days, but it still gives us the time.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So that's my suggestion on that.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
the only thing, I do have a conflict on the 14th.
Okay.
We have our city council meetings, and that's why I think you mentioned the 15th if we want to do them on Thursday.
Okay,
If that's okay with everybody. Not that I want to sit at a city council meeting,
yeah, I got it.
but it is
Okay.
my duty.
Is the 15th okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay,
So that's the day after our, looks like we have a school board meeting on the 14th. 21st? Because it's a Thursday. There you go. Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion to set the new date for the annual budget hearing of June 15th, 2023?
Madam Chair, I move that we set the date of annual budget hearing to June 15, 2023.
Okay, I'll second.
Six.
6 p.m.?
At 6 p.m., okay?
6 p.m.
Yeah. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, item number 4, discuss and possibly approve signing a contract with Sequoia Benefits Portal. This is also a Lydia Calloway and Gabe Gillette
Okay.
item.
So right now we have I call them benefits managers, our benefits brokers that we've used this year. And there have been some hiccups. It kind of feels like the system that they use, like maybe we're the trial. They're a smaller company and we've struggled with getting our elections lined up with what the different companies are charging us and trying to get them to match. And there's been a lot of work and a lot of hassle with it. And we had a company reach out to us, Sequoia, and they're a bigger nationwide company. And I've had a couple of Zoom meetings Lydia and I have with them about their offerings. And I believe this packet was sent to you guys. And it kind of explains all their different offerings. And it's quite a bit better, in my opinion, in what they offer. Each staff member will have an app that they can utilize throughout the year. They'll have staff members that they can either contact on the app or call with any questions or any changes. And it all kind of gets handled by Sequoia. And they also have other little pieces, their benefits portal that everyone signs up on. They have an HR specialist that can answer questions. I mean, if you guys went through the packet, there's quite a bit of stuff there. And for me, one of the biggest things is that a lot of what they're going to do has fallen on Lydia and I and just kind of added to what we're already doing. And so this will take and kind of streamline a lot of the processes and help open up, what we're doing.
David, is there a net cost difference?
So there is. Right now, with the company ATX benefits, everything is paid for through our premiums. So they're reimbursed by the different companies that they sell us on. These guys, everything is similar to that except for the cost of the benefits portal. They build it specifically for us. They are going to connect with our finance system so that when they choose their benefits, it updates our finance system's deductions. And that's another huge thing that Lydia and I go in and hand enter in all the deductions every year. because the other systems don't do that. So it's $1,000 flat rate, and then it's $325 per month.
Do you feel like it's an added value to you and
Well, I
Lydia?
would just like to say that I think the HR piece is probably worth the 325.
Yeah.
Because the employees are always reaching out to us with questions, is my husband covered on my vision or whatever, and all of that, and then we have to stop, dig through stuff to find that. Where if we can direct them right to that HR piece, they'll get clear answers. In the past, I have just handed them the phone number for Blue Cross or for Percy, and, let them, because it is time consuming to do that kind of stuff. So, and I don't know how far the HR goes, as far as unhappy employees or anything like that. I'm not sure what's included with that. But I mean, forever, we don't really have an HR. We have never had an HR.
Have you talked to other school districts that have used this?
I have not. Where did she say they are mainly? So they're nationwide, but we're the first school district that they have approached in Idaho.
Okay, so we don't have to make a decision on this tonight.
No.
Could you reach out to some other school districts and see how, obviously they're used somewhere else, and just give us some feedback on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that was one of the first things I asked, was if there were any other schools in Idaho that used it, and they didn't have it.
Okay.
And another thing I wanted to say is the $325 per month is a new cost that we don't currently have. But the legislators give us a pot of money to distribute, to utilize for providing benefits to our employees. And it has to be used for that. And my thought is that we can utilize that money, the $325, which is a small portion of what they give us per month. And what we do then is distribute the remainder to the employees and pay for what benefits we can with those, which they've increased that amount this year by more than $325 a month than from the previous year. And we were able to cover employee health, dental, and vision with last year's numbers. So,
I like the idea, I just don't want you to get into another system and then go, oh,
Absolutely.
crap, it's worse than the other
Absolutely.
system. Okay.
yeah, thanks.
Okay, yep. Madam Chair, can we table that until our next meeting? Would the next meeting be okay to make a decision on that, Gabe?
What's that?
Would the next meeting be okay to make a decision on that? Okay.
Okay.
No, we don't.
So we're going to table item number 4 until May board meeting. Okay, item number 5, discuss and possibly approve amending the 2023-24 school calendar editions of August 17th and 18th for new employee orientation, September 22nd, 2023, and February 9th, 2024 for Part Friday and PD, professional development. Steve, did you want to speak to that? Dr. Lynch, sorry.
This school year is a little bit different with the calendar setup. The first week, we actually have the first week, we have a full week of 4 days, but the first 3 days is devoted to in-service for the staff. And then the last day is actually the first day, which is a Thursday. And we wanted to design that because we wanted them to just come into school and then get set with guidelines, expectations, and then have a weekend to enjoy, and then come back and really start on academics. Now, with this being said, it's a different setup for teachers because it's a very compressed 3 days of training, and it is a very valuable time. And the leadership in IT and I met the other day, and it's just way too much training needs that we have to go through. Some of this training is not applicable for returning and veteran staff members. However, we would like to utilize 2 days, the previous week's 2 days, so that we can really get the onboarding for the new staff to occur. And that's why those 2 days are valuable for us and for me. Majority of that will be myself, primarily myself, and I will be helping them with the onboarding process. And I feel like those 2 days are going to be valuable for them to get into private, more individualized one-on-one supported while safeguarding teachers' time and staff's time. The other 2 days, we had a survey was sent out to teachers and the staff, and it was asking for professional development. And I'm going to talk about this. The word differentiation is a really interesting buzzword in education because we expect our teachers and staff to do that for staff members, but we don't necessarily do that well. And in this survey, we were asking once again, what is it that you need help with? And there was a plethora of very specific items that they wanted. However, in the course of a school year, we don't have adequate time to provide training. And these are some of the facts that I have encountered with staff. We have, out of the 21 staff, 11 staff members or teachers have not gone through the traditional teacher ed route. They don't know what they don't know. Therefore, it is the responsibility of myself to either provide the training or bring in training. And 2 extra Fridays are necessary. With this in mind, I will say something that I was not necessarily pleased with, and I'll just put myself on the record here. The calendar committee was created, but I was never invited to the calendar committee until the very last meeting when the majority of the calendar was set. And as the instructional leader, I think this was not necessarily a reflection of my input, because once again, I have more information about teachers and staff, and I felt that I needed to have some say in this. Knowing the outcome now, I would actually like to add in 2 professional development Fridays, 1 at each semester, so that we can really make sure that the needs of the staff is addressed to the very best of abilities for this year. And this is a continuing PDs that we will do moving forward beyond 22-23.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve amending the 2023-24 school calendar?
Calendar with the additions of August 17th and 18th for new employee orientation, September 22nd, 2023 and February 9th, 2024 for Student Park Friday with professional development.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Morris?
Morris, you there? Aye.
Couldn't hear you, so.
Okay, item number 6, discuss and possibly approve increasing the middle school, high school student, single adult, and family activity card prices. Our athletic director, Mike Chandler, was going to speak to this, but I do not see him here. They're in overtime with their softball game. Okay. We can bump it to the end. We'll give them some more time to get here. And so hopefully he'll show up. Okay. So I'm going to skip the next one as well because that has to do with our athletic director. So item number 8, discuss and possibly approve increasing adult breakfast, adult lunch, and salad bar prices. Superintendent Pat Goff and Debbie Updike.
So Debbie gave me the information. I'm sharing on this information with the board. Every year, federal costs come in and what the increases, decreases might be for the lunch program, since everything is dictated by federal means. The federally mandated price adjustment, it says minimum prices for adult meals are calculated each year using the value of the free student meal, value of USDA foods and sales tax. Because the annual review process occurs prior to the release of the new reimbursement rates, the previous school year's minimum price is the required minimum of application. So what's happened basically is they are stating that the adult breakfast needs to move from $2.50 to $2.65, which is a 6% increase. Adult lunch is from $4.45 to $4.70, which is a 5% increase. Elementary lunch from $3 to $3.10, which is a 3% increase. Middle school lunch is $3.15 to $3.25, which is a 3% increase. High school lunch, $3.15 to $3.25, which is a 3% increase. And the salad bar from $3.35 to $3.75, which is a 12% increase. And so being that we have 3 of those, adult breakfast, adult lunch, and salad bar are above the 5%, we need to have that per our policy 75 or 7,500, that we need to have an open hearing to be able to adjust above a 5%. So I suggest that we maybe try to get that set up, posted, so maybe we can have an open hearing on the May board meeting, so then we can actually get it posted in the correct dates, so we can get moving for next year.
Okay.
Just have to have that published,
Okay.
so.
Did everybody hear all that?
Yes.
Okay, so how would we verbalize that?
You could just instruct me to have it on the May agenda and then instruct us to publish it. Would it need a motion?
No, you're just actually gonna move it to the next meeting with the open hearing.
Okay.
You do an open hearing, and then you'll have a motion after that.
Okay. Okay, we're going to defer this to the board clerk, Janelle Shanahan, to put on the May agenda. Okay, item number 9, discuss and possibly approve the Jack Craig Henrietta Penrod Scholarship Committee. Again, Patrick Goff and Ronnie Gilbertson.
Madam Chair, Board, Ronnie's wasn't here to be able to state this, but would like the Jack Craig Henrietta Penrod Scholarship Committee members to be Dr. Steve Lynch, Trey Scott, Nikhil Miller, Carol Donick, and Kim Gray.
Okay.
Can I see your list so I can read off?
You sure
the
can.
motion? Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the Jack Craig Henrietta Penrod Scholarship Committee as said Dr. Steve Lynch, Trace Goff, Nikhil Miller, Trinell, Kim Gregg, and our community member? Trell D. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the Jack Craig Henrietta Penrod Scholarship Committee with the aforementioned names.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, item number 10, discuss and possibly approve resignations. Do we have any resignations to approve?
You had one in your packet.
Mhm.
One that you had in your packet already was Mr. Bohandy.
Right.
He said this is going to be his second retirement. And so he would like to be able to resign May 24th and spend the rest of the summer fishing and camping. So he said he's got this one done and he had a checklist of stuff that he had to get done, and it's going to be done by May 24th. And so we're good.
Okay, Madam Chair, I move that we approve Mr. Bohandy's resignation as per May 24th. You done?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Morris seconded.
Okay. Item number 11, discuss and possibly approve the 2023-24 certified contracts.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve all 2023-2024 certified contracts.
Do I have a second?
Morris seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Item number 12, discuss and possibly open positions.
I don't think there's, no.
We already covered that one.
Oh, so we don't have to go over that
Yeah.
one? The 2 positions that I'm aware of are Bo Handy's head of maintenance And then the high school math teachers, they were emergency hire,
Oh.
they have to repost.
Okay, so we can open those before they're, gotcha. Okay. Okay, Madam Chair, I move that we approve opening up a position for Mr. Bohandy's maintenance director spot and for ninth grade or high school math teacher.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 13, discuss and possibly create and open a part-time vice principal position starting in the 2023-24 school year. And I'd like Dr. Lynch and Superintendent Goff to speak to this a little bit about what your visions are for this position.
This year, I've had quite a few people ask me how's the work here or their academic year going. And truthfully, it's been a lot. It's been an overload. And I have appreciated people and asking what they can do to support. And they have given me a lot of good suggestions. Of the suggestions is lead teachers. And while lead teachers are important, it's not what I need because they do not have admin credentials and some of the information is confidential. The one thing that I do need is a vice principal more than anything else. Before I talk more about that, please allow me to give you some information. This school year, I am in charge of 21 teachers and 20 support staff. I oversee at least 5 different departments. Without the superintendent for a few weeks, I was overseeing about 12 different departments, and I oversee 11 content areas. And this is one person. For me, it is very truthfully and directly, it is too much for one person. I mentioned just previously about differentiation, and I am asking my teachers to differentiate in the classroom, but in a modeling purpose, I am not actually doing a good job of modeling what differentiation looks like because I could not accurately and fairly give the differentiation that teachers need. With the vice principal, I'm really asking them to help me out because our school, while it's one building, it's very unique. We have a group of teachers that is K2, K5, middle school, high school, specials, and SPED. And right now, it's just too much for any one person to manage effectively. With the creation of, to start out with the part-time vice principal, you'll be able to solely focus on specialized or content areas or grade levels and make sure that the teachers are getting what they deserve and ensuring they are given the instructions that we need for our staff. And looking at this, I want to make sure that under Superintendent Goff, that we have to be fiscally responsible, which he has stated from day number one. I just want to give you guys some information here. We receive FTEs, and FTEs is full-time equivalents. We receive 2 of us for admin pay. And right now, Superintendent Goff occupies 0.5 FTEs. I occupy 1. And so there was an opening for 0.5 for advice, which is going to be a part-time. And for me, it's going to be based upon the qualifications of the individual, but it is my vision to first of all, look internally, and we do have internal candidates, and that is one of the better parts about my job and my various and numerous conversations with staff. We have great and amazing staff who are motivated, and like me, they want to serve the students to the best of our capacity. So we are looking at that internally, and based upon their skill sets and their strengths, we're going to divvy out the workload and responsibilities as needed. I fully believe that the part-time vice principal will make a tremendous impact, not only for me, but ultimately for the students. This is how I envision this position to look forward.
Great.
Any questions that I can answer?
Nope, that's pretty well summarized.
Do you have anything to add?
Well, I just echo everything he says. I mean, the main focus is for the safety and the education of the students. And if you're spread too thin, you can't focus on what the teachers actually want. And it's our objective is to, there's a saying, you can lead from the top down and bottom up. You want to lead from the bottom up. You want to lead with the servant's heart. And in order to do that, you got to be in the trenches with the teachers. And the more time you can spend with the teachers, the better off it is. we don't ask our teachers to teach 35 kids in a class because that's a little bit too much. Well, to have him in charge of 21 teachers, a little bit too much for one person. So we give him a little bit more slack so where he can get do his job well and have another person helping out and doing their job. And it should be a benefit to the whole educational process.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
That's up to you.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Would it be more beneficial to have an elementary principal and a middle school, high school principal, because the needs of the teachers and the students are so vastly different, than to have a principal and a vice principal?
That's a good question.
And I can answer that as well.
Yes.
Right now, that is, there's so many different models that we are looking at. And I think that is a really, the priority list of that model right there. As you just mentioned, like there is a clear distinction between certain grade levels, and for me, K-5 is a split in our current design right now, and then middle school up to 12th grade. The other two areas that we really need to focus in, three areas actually, excuse me. Enrollment needs to be in that consideration. How does that look? As well as specials, and then special education as well. Within this is making sure that everything fits as needed to be, especially with the alignment and the locations as well. But you're absolutely right, that is the one that I'm working on right now. And it's also aligning it with the applicants that we were receiving. But that is the number one that is at the top of my list. Yes, and I agree, there's tremendous logic in that.
Part of those considerations are obviously the budget.
Budget, not necessarily, because talking to Superintendent Goff, once again, it's really about the 0.5 that's going to fit within the 2.0 FTE. So the budget doesn't really apply here. We just need to make sure that we are working within the framework in which we get monies from the state and making sure that it fits with the compensation package for the 0.5 vice principal.
I was referring to the separate principal position for the.
Ultimately, yes, I think so in the long run, but right now I don't think we have it within our budget. I think there's another one if you guys would like to. I think there's another hand up.
Oh, is there another question?
Is there another question?
There was another hand I had.
I got it, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You want to,
Okay. Do I have a motion to create and open a part-time vice principal position starting for the 23-24 school year?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we create and open a part-time vice principal position starting in the 2023-2024 school year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, moving to old business. Discuss and possibly approve advisory committee for hiring permanent superintendent. Okay, moving on. Number 2, policy 1500 amended, second and final reading. And this was just the verbiage.
That had to do with moving to third Wednesdays.
Yep. Do I have a motion?
You got all that? Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the amended 1500 second and final reading?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the 1500 amended second and final reading.
Go ahead.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item number 3, discuss and possibly approve joining in with our other school districts across the country in a lawsuit involving social media. Superintendent Goff.
Madam Chair, Board, so this is, if nobody has heard this, there's been 2 major pushes nationwide. One of them is for the vaping, and there was a big push and push out for vaping to be pushed to the teenagers. And so there's a big lawsuit against the vaping companies and tobacco companies against the use of vaping and how much that's pushed out for teenagers. Also with social media, especially during the COVID time, and how many people were at home and on their, I call it anti-social media, you can call it social media, whatever you want to call it, but there's a big push to say they're trying to steer the teenagers in a different direction than what actually needs to be. So it's a big countrywide movement. We have several school districts in the state of Idaho and more joining every day in this lawsuit to make sure we try to get some help in staving off, maybe some counseling or whatnot with some of these areas. I know for sure in my school and some of the surrounding areas that we've had during the COVID time, there wasn't that many COVID fatalities, but there was about 7 suicides. And so that was a main focus on what we needed to do, is trying to get students pointed in the right direction. And I think you've seen that at the national level, you're gonna see it at the state level, you'll see it at the local level. So that's what that's all about.
Do I have a motion to approve joining in with the other school districts in the lawsuit involving social media?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve joining in with other school districts across the country in a lawsuit involving social media.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. And if I could say, you're going to keep us updated on this as it
Absolutely.
rolls
On
on.
both of them, yep.
Okay. Okay, item number 10. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? He's not here. Mike Chandler. I'm gonna see if Superintendent Goff can present for
Well,
me.
you could probably do the first or the item 7, discuss and possibly hire Ryan Wessels as golf head coach, volunteer. I think he's been doing it already. He's
Okay.
been doing the practices. I think that can be done. And we can always do the increasing of that next board meeting when he's more prepared, everything's ready. And hopefully we'll win the softball game.
Yeah. Okay, regarding item 7, Madam Chair, I move that we approve Ryan Wessels as golf head coach in a volunteer basis.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, then we are going to move item number 6 to May school board meeting. And then item number 10, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Second?
Thank you. All right, thanks, guys. Aye.
You can destroy it.
Make a motion to.
Permission to approach the record.
Are you sure?
I have them. Do you want to get it? Do you want me to get rid of it?
No, I put you on.
Thank you. Nice to see you again. How's things going?
You're in the loop. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, look it, you got out on time.
How does he know? Get your chair.
Grace, Justin, Ty, thanks for everything you guys are doing. George, appreciate it. Ron, thanks for everything. Ron, thanks for everything.
I stole this out of there.
What else you suggested?
No, it's not like this. Who else?
Yeah, I guess I just want to do face to face. I'm just trying to Well, there's a lot of stuff we're gonna do. Well, and I think with the meetings, not that guy. Not with you. I'm not saying that. I'm always nice. But you gotta make the decision. Yeah. I just had to add to
Yes.
Right, yeah, right next to it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your chocolate. That's it.
What? Are you kidding? Did it not make it back to you? No.
But no, that's some people didn't.
I mean, how many times did I and I finally went to second a lot and bring the chocolate this time. And I knew it was gonna be a longer one, so I was like, a little bit of chocolate, you're all gonna be like, is it over yet? For as much as that, once we got out of executive session. Chandler better win. That team better win. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, team stuff is bad.
I got a bunch of questions.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Oh,
I need a glass of wine.
Choke on that, I know I will.
Taking down the tables and stuff.